the dog whisperer himself, Brett Podolsky.
Thank you, guys. Could we also just get a quick round of applause for Steve and the whole Media Post team? What they've put together. This is absolutely incredible, guys. I mean, just to be in a room with all you amazing people, I have no idea why I'm talking to you guys, but it's very flattering, so thank you. So yeah, wait, let me just back it up a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you a little story about how my love of dogs led to end-to-end personalization and a very different type of dog food. How many people here love dogs? Okay, I'm in the right place. How many of you have dogs? Wow, I'm definitely in the right place. How many of you actually feed your dogs yourself? And then how many of you have ever wondered why your dog's food doesn't look or smell, or probably not taste, like food? So we've been conditioned for decades to believe that dog food should be like processed brown balls. So I'm going to tell you a little story about why it really shouldn't be the case. Dog food should just be food. So before I get into personalization, tell you a little bit about myself. That is me, as you can see, and there's that beautiful little angel there is my dog Jada, and she's actually the reason why we started the company. But to give you a little quick backstory, after I graduated college, I did like what a typical New Yorker does. I went into finance, and I don't know anybody who's passionate about finance. I definitely wasn't. I was at a hedge fund and decided that I was too young to do anything that I wasn't really, really passionate about. So I decided to pursue my lifelong dream of becoming a stand-up comedian. Thank you. Okay. That wasn't a part of the bit. I actually didn't even write a bit here, so go easy on me. But yeah, I think it's really important for you to always do something that you're super passionate about. So it's great to be in a room with people that are extremely passionate about what they're doing every day, because life's too short to spend any time focusing on things that you don't wake up and love getting to work to do. So the thing that I realized while doing comedy was I really wanted to be a comic because comedy was cool, I guess, growing up. But I wasn't passionate about it. What I realized that I was passionate about is people and helping people and making people happy, which was a big reason what led to what I do today, which I'm fulfilled in every single day, because if you make a dog healthy, you make their parents happy, and those are people. So how did I get into the dog food biz? The beautiful little lady I just showed you, Jada, she was sick for the first 2 years that I had her, and as many of you who are pet parents here, you know how heartbreaking that is to, I mean, anytime you bring your dog to the vet, even if it's just like throwing up or diarrhea, sorry for dropping that word here. At least you guys are done eating. You know how heartbreaking it is, and you're willing to do absolutely anything that you can to make your dog or cat or pet feel better. So I did. I went to every vet you could imagine. I went to specialists trying to figure out the solution to her stomach problems. She had some other problems, but it was mostly her stomach. And nobody had a solution, except for medicine. But I didn't want to have my dog live on medicine for the rest of her life. So I wanted to find a more natural solution. I tried every single premium dog food on the market. If they had a good reputation, I tried it for her, and everything kept making her worse and worse and worse. And I didn't know what to do. So finally I went to a holistic vet that had a very different take on dog food and how to treat our dogs. And she recommended that I tried home cooking, which struck me because every vet uses that as the silver bullet to like solve all GI problems in dogs. So it made me wonder why they don't recommend this long term. Anyway, to make a long story short, I went home that day, I took the dog food bag that I had been feeding her, I went to the back, I looked at the ingredient label, and I cooked the exact same ingredients that were on the food. I was on the back of the packaging. But when I cooked it, it was like magic. All of her symptoms disappeared overnight. And I started to think, what is the disconnect here? What is the difference between what they're doing and what I'm doing? And the only thing that I was able to say was that I was in control of the process, taking it from ingredients to finished product food that she was actually eating. And seeing the results in her made me realize the power that food has on our health. And mind you, this was like 4 years ago, so it's kind of the beginning of that paradigm shift that definitely all the big cities in America have already gone through, and we're kind of going through it now with our dogs, where people are realizing that nutrition is a huge portion of what keeps them healthy. So to kind of explain what we actually, so kind of to backtrack for a second, with all the recalls in the industry and the fact that all the food was so highly processed, I had some criteria of what I was looking for, and I wanted to find a food that I felt comfortable feeding my dog. I wanted to find a company that was trustworthy and had transparency and led with integrity. And to make a long story short, after doing a lot of research, I came to the harsh realization that the company that I was looking for simply didn't exist. So that was when we decided to build that company. And that is really who we are. We are here to make the healthiest dog food in the world and to make it really, really convenient for our customers so that it's essentially a no-brainer. So pretty simple. We make freshly cooked dog food. It's customized for each dog's specific needs, and then we deliver it by subscription. Better for them, easier for you. This is a slogan, and it definitely looks like a slogan, but for us, it's actually our North Star. It really means everything to us. It guides every single decision that we make at the company. The two promises that we make to our customers and to ourselves internally that guide absolutely everything we do is, number one is health. The number one thing that we're concerned about is making dogs healthier, and number two is about convenience for our customers. And you guys are probably all wondering, like, when is he going to start talking about personalization? I'll get to it. But this is a really big setup as to why personalization and why we personalize. Definitely not something that we wanted to do. For us, personalization is about convenience over novelty. And if anybody here is considering adding some level of personalization to your product, the thing that I'd urge you to really consider, to ask yourself this question: Am I personalizing for marketing purposes to help the company grow, or am I personalizing for my customer? And if it's only for marketing purposes, I would avoid it, because personalization, one, it's really hard to execute at scale, especially when it's a product like ours. Maybe like just purely digital is a different story. But for us, it was extremely difficult to execute this at scale. Literally, each one of our subscriptions is completely unique. So it's very difficult on a supply chain and fulfillment standpoint. So this is going to be a recurring theme that I keep going back to. And Steve, if you're mad at me for discouraging people about personalization, I'm sorry. So this is where we start collecting data. This is like our first touch point. When you come to our website, what you do is you fill out all of the information about your dog, the information that we take into account. So age, activity level, weight, breed, location of where you live, health conditions, sensitivities, allergies, and their body condition, meaning are they lean or are they overweight. And then we take all of these data points, and our technology, so you could see on the right here, this is like where they fill it out, and our technology will automatically give you a custom feeding program for your dog. So the main reason why we do this is because one thing that we noticed when we were first starting was when you walk into a dog food store, it's pretty confusing, especially when you have a puppy. You have no idea what to give your dog. And you walk in and you might be reading reviews on Google from peers, which are essentially anecdotal evidence and probably are not written by veterinarians. Or you're asking the person who works at the store, or the person stocking the shelf, or somebody else that's there buying food for their dog, and all of them probably aren't veterinarians. So you're really just getting, anecdotal evidence sample of one. So it's really, really confusing, and it's a lot of vibrant colors and marketing buzzwords like all natural and organic and holistic, which I've actually seen on dog food, which doesn't really make any sense, because how can just food be holistic? It's like really a lifestyle thing, right? So anyway, when you go to our website, when you fill out all that information about your dog, through a process of elimination, we actually only show you the food plan options that are perfect for your dog. So you could pick one, you could pick two, you could pick all of our recipes. And then, for instance, if you wanted to maybe get more turkey than beef, you could let us know, and we could actually really, really customize how much food you'll actually be receiving in your box. And again, all of these things for personalization are all done because it's convenient. It's for our customers. Funny enough, when we started when we started personalization like this, it actually happened because it had to. When we were cooking, it was just me and my co-founder Jonathan cooking. We'd put the labels on the bags and we'd package the food, and then when we'd freeze it, we'd have to come back the next day, and because each dog was getting something different, we'd go to the freezer and we'd have to be able to identify which pack was going to which customer. So this actually happened out of necessity, and then we found that our customers loved it, so we kept it, and then we realized we'd have to build technology to make it work at scale. So kind of staying with this, the personalized packaging, there's really two reasons why we did it. One, you might have multiple dogs in your household. So that's why the name's on the pack, because we want you might have 3 dogs that are all about the same size, but they're eating just a little bit differently than each other. So we want to be able to have the names on the pack so that you never feed them the wrong dog's food. The other part is accurate portions. The accurate portions, when you give us the information about your dog, we also will package it in a way that is exactly how many calories your dog needs per day. A huge problem in America. I believe 60% of dogs in America are obese, and a dog that's lean will live 20 to 30% longer than a dog that's overweight, which is obviously a huge amount of time when you're dealing with your dog, which, well, for one, we all love them, but they also live really short lives, and we want to try to, optimize their nutrition to get as many years out of them as we possibly can. And again, everything that we do here is only for health and convenience. So the personalized portions, which leads us into why we call it a smart subscription. Most subscriptions, like a magazine, are where you receive a magazine once a month, but they don't gauge how long it maybe takes you to read that magazine. So when we pre-portion the food to you and we send you maybe, like, say, 15 days worth of food, we know exactly how much food, and as long as you're feeding to the proper portions, which all of our customers do, and if they don't, they just let us know and we adjust accordingly, it allows us to send food that's perfectly timed for them, not timed based on weeks or 2 weeks or 4 weeks. And then on top of that, what we realized was we had a lot of customers through our customer service feedback that wanted to, for instance, get more food because they had one dog, they lived in the middle of the country with an extra freezer in their house, and they wanted to take a couple of months worth of food so we could drive down costs for them a little bit, get them a bulk order. But we also had customers who lived in New York City who had 2 big dogs, a tiny little freezer, and we needed to send them food every single week. So these are some of the flexibility, like the personalization flexibility that we've done. Again, not easy for us. We probably wouldn't have done it if we had the choice, but again, it was all for our customer, and it's all about convenience. Customer service, this is where we get a lot of our data after the fact. So after you fill out the information about your dog, it kind of stops there. But from there, we actually reach out to our customers pretty frequently, whether it be through email or we'll call them, but most often we actually reach out to them through like an SMS text message. Really simple, and we reach out to them, we say, how's your dog? Are the portions right? Have they gained weight? Have they lost weight? So we could calibrate with them and always make sure that they're getting the perfect experience that they want. And through our customer service, we're constantly learning, constantly improving, and constantly making iterations to make the effortless experience that we've been striving for. So this is where the personalization starts to benefit you on the marketing side. And I'm sure a lot of you guys are doing something similar. So for us, if a customer doesn't sign up, let's say on the first time they come to our website, we have all of this information about them. So for instance, my dog, Jada, who has stomach sensitivities, there's no reason why we should be receiving, like if I didn't sign up, I should be receiving an email from the farmer's dog about a French bulldog who's really picky and that they loved our food, or a poodle who has allergies but they were totally cleared up on our food. It's a great story, but it's irrelevant to me, and it's not going to get me to sign up. So I'd rather hear a testimonial about a Rottweiler whose stomach problems were completely cleared up by our food. And that's where we get to really personalize our messaging and speak directly to our customer in a way that matters to them. Community is something that we take really, really seriously. We actually don't have a marketing team. We don't call it marketing. It's really community. So, obviously we market, we have a team that focuses on performance. But community, we call it community because we believe in a North Star, and this is our North Star. Everything that we do at the company is about creating these real relationships with our customers so we can get better and better and have really long-term retention. Believe it or not, most of our growth is actually organic, and I credit a lot of that, one, to the product making their dog healthy and the service and the experience, but also to the community because they feel like they're really a part of something special. And we communicate with them constantly on social media, and then every other form of on Instagram and every other form of social media. So this is another thing, and I know we were just talking with Chewy about this, and they do something very similar. Unfortunately, dogs don't live forever, which is, it's always super heartbreaking when we do find out that, one of the dogs has passed away. And, we are on a mission to do everything we can to extend their lives. But unfortunately, if we could make them immortal, we would, but it's just not possible yet. So anytime that we find out about one of our customers who had passed away, typically, like just from like the numbers perspective, that is a churned customer and they're gone forever. And, you don't want to market to them anymore. You don't want to spend any more money on that person. But for us, we actually send them flowers, and it's definitely not cheap. It's a pretty beautiful bouquet of flowers that we always send. And people always ask me when we talk about this, but what's the ROI on that? Is that scalable? And they're completely right. But it's not something that we consider because to us, the relationship that we're building with our customers, and obviously it might come back. It's not too trackable. They might get another dog. They might come back. They might tell the story. But for us, it's about this relationship that we've built, and we know what they're going through. And to be able to come home, after their dog passed away, and they go to work, and they're about to come home to an empty house, and they see flowers sitting on their counter, it's a feeling that you can't really put a price on that. So, key takeaways for today. Customer obsession. That's what it's about for us, and I think that's the future for brands. It's not about marketing. It's not what can I do to grow. It's let's just focus on our customer, and the rest will kind of unfold for us. Personalization. It has to be convenience. It has to be for your customer. Don't do it for novelty or for marketing purposes. And continuously and learn and improve. And like for us, we always have this like internal skepticism of like, we think we know what we're doing, but we might be wrong. So we're always open to, listening and improvement. I'd love to chat with all of you if possible and get some feedback from what you've heard from me today. Thank you, guys.
Brett, thank you very much. You have questions for Brett?
Hey, Garrett Holscher, Taboola. Myself, and I'm sure all the other dog owners in the audience are wondering, where's the best place to buy the farmer's dog food? And two-part question, is there a promo code available, anything like that?
Wow, that's a wonderful question. I can't believe I didn't answer that already, but thank you. You go to thefarmersdog.com, and that's where you learn a little bit more about us, and you answer the questions about your dog, and we'll give you a custom feeding plan. And if you want to get 50% off, and this is not like a limited time offer, it's thefarmersdog.com/Brett, BRETT, and we'll get you a discount. Thank you, Garrett.
Yep.
I'm Sarah Neal, and I'm here from Uber. How do you track all of these data points? Like, what does your CRM backend look like?
Yeah, so I wish I could say that we were able to get one off of the shelf, just through like the heavy personalization, but also the flexibility that we needed to build. It is completely built from scratch. So kudos to our genius, Andres, who he's our head of technology. The guy is like unbelievable. Every time you want to give him like something that like can't be solved, you explain it to him, like, you can't do this. And he's like, give me 2 weeks. It's unbelievable. So yeah, it's all to him.
How does the personalization scale? In the end, not just and not just sending flowers, but throughout the whole thing. And it's actually let me ask you to talk from example. Where have you seen where within the organization and the personalization have you seen the greatest growing pains so far? Because you have grown quickly, but where have the stress points been already, and where do you anticipate they will be to get this bigger?
Yeah, so when we first started and we were doing this personalization, it was all done on a spreadsheet literally by me, completely manual. It was like every time I had to even touch it, it was like an anxiety attack. I had 13 extra versions of it because, like, you click the wrong thing, you mess up the formula, and like everything is destroyed. So we basically, to Andres, we were like, how do we make this like into like technology that like we can't break? So he built that. The toughest part in terms of scalability isn't on the tech side, it's actually on the fulfillment side. The manufacturing, the predictability of our manufacturing, because we do manufacture lean because it is fresh food, we have no preservatives. So the predictability from our technology that places the proper orders to our kitchen. And then on the fulfillment side, because each and every one of our boxes, and there's a ton of boxes leaving our kitchen every day, each and every one of them is completely unique. So we've built some processes and some really, really cool things to basically allow that to happen at scale. And with all of the quality, with all the quality checks, because that's where it starts to become iffy. When you have a dog and he ends up in the wrong box, that's a really horrible customer experience. So we've put a lot of process in place to prevent that.
So you definitely have a new customer now. So my dog Huckleberry has Addison's disease, and it took about 1.5 years to, there's a question in here, don't worry, to kind of figure out and diagnose it, massive tests and whatnot. If I were to put all that information in, would the algorithm come back to me with a prescribed food plan, as we kind of have him on certain prescription food now that I don't really like? But would that how the algorithm will work, and how does it kind of match it based on the disease?
Yeah, so I'm sorry to hear about Huckleberry.
Oh, it's totally treatable, which is great. So
yeah, so basically, so right now we have just a few standard recipes that, through the process of elimination, will and won't work for certain dogs. So what we typically do at this stage is we ask you to ask your vet if there's certain things that they want to make sure that are in the food. But yeah, that is actually something down the road in our pipeline, where people will be able to completely go into exactly how you describe, where you'd be able to go in and then we'd have a recipe or multiple recipes for dogs with Addison's, or there's so many problems out there that dogs have that we intend on being a solution for down the road. Great question.
thanks.
How does this personalization and customer relationship inform customer acquisition? Are you using that data in any way to inform a media plan, or does it impact or change your strategy in terms of customer acquisition?
So it's really interesting, and this is like my genuine belief. I think that every pet parent, they want to give their dog the healthiest lifestyle and best lifestyle. The other thing is that if you ask any pet parent out there, maybe before I just did this, but every other person, they already think they're giving their dog the best diet that they know of. So for us, that is just such a big opportunity where all we kind of have to do is just kind of wave our flag in the air, and it's so logical, because if when you look at every other food on the market, which is, besides like a handful, if you look at every food on the market, that's like a processed brown ball, and you think it's a processed ball versus like actual food. It's pretty like simple logic that I think everybody gets. So really, just kind of marketing to like anybody with a dog actually works. I think that like the comparison that I always draw is, I always ask people, like, how frequently are you comfortable eating fast food? Or like, Cheetos, for instance. And then nobody has ever said daily, let alone every single meal of their life for their entire life. So that's kind of the relation that I put to kibble, because you're feeding your dog a really, really highly processed food every single meal of their life. So just kind of saying, we make fresh food and we make it really, really easy for you is as much as it takes.
Okay, so on the other end, does the personalization, in terms of where your channels of acquisition are, so in a broad media plan, it allows you to, the nature of the product and the nature of the customer allows you to go for a very broad reach and a broad messaging. On the other end, does the personalization also open up, because that level of personalized care creates tremendous affinity between you and your customer? Does that mean that your social and sharing channel, where word of mouth actually is more powerful because of the personalization?
Yeah, interestingly enough, absolutely. Just the cuteness factor of our personalization, like people love to see, like when the bag arrives for my Jada or Snoopy or whatever your dog's name is, when you open the box, especially for the first time, and you see that there's food that is not only like amazing quality, but has your dog's name on it, and that level of comfort that you get, people want to share it. And it's also, there's like a sense of pride knowing that you're giving your dog the best lifestyle, and people really like to talk about it.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that we don't often talk about, is that when you get that level of personalization and that relationship with the customer, that can really supercharge these alternative channels of acquisition.
Yeah, I mean, no question about it.
Brett, thank you very much. That was wonderful.